There's an old saying that when artists get together, they don't talk about creativity, they talk about the price of paint. And that's interesting to me because that suggests that creativity was invented as a concept by people who wanted to distill whatever artists had or whatever they perceived artists having down to something transferable to other kinds of work. And that really is the essence of the idea of creativity, I think, is that it's something that's transferable across different areas, something that if we found out about it, we could induce innovation in any realm, whether that's art or technology or whatever. But usually it's actually the technology that people are concerned about when they're writing about creativity. And I think that was true in the 50s and 60s, and I think it's true today.
Despite what you might see on social media, no one's rushing to the box office to see a film that looks like this anytime soon. The news of Hollywood's sudden death is being retracted daily, partially because a lot of AI solutions are solving problems that don't exist.
AI companies, they need to make money, so they're offering us services, and they're offering us a solution to a problem that we in the entertainment industry don't really need, because it's not a problem to begin with. It's not something we need to solve.
Even things like storyboarding that can benefit from the speed of generative images oftentimes fall flat when put into the hands of a professional.
But, and this guy looks like he's just sitting down, which is pretty cool. So it's close, but it's not close enough to be any use. No one would be able to use these. Like, you can't just say, oh, pretend like this is Jim Gaffigan, pretend like this is bad, and pretend like there's no like door in front with a window that we're looking through. Come on.
Despite its flaws, professionals in every continent are experimenting.
I've used AI-generated images to communicate certain styling that I see in some of my concepts that I'm developing or for a project I'm working on. And I can execute that effectively to communicate a style or a texture.
Well, they can't put emotions into it. They can imitate emotions, but they can't put emotions into it.
The thing that misses a lot of the time, and which is so evident in movies, is the ability to communicate emotion.
These tools aren't quite ready to fully replace human artists, especially on projects that require precision and emotion.
In episode 3, we talked about how AI is based on mathematical probability. And this is great for lots of use cases that aren't creative.
I have no problem with using AI or anything as an actual tool. There would be so many places where AI programs or applications, whatever, could actually speed up the process, make it more efficient, and free time for me to think.
In this episode, we're going to look at 2 non-creative use cases in the theater and film industry. There are more than 40,000 self-tape auditions a day, and at least 10,000 of them happen in New York City. Actors are constantly having to learn lines at the last minute with hope of booking a big role.
Self-tapes can be a big pain, but they're here to stay. Not only do you need to act the scene, but you're responsible for finding a reader, shooting the scene or scenes, editing, uploading. You're the actor, director, editor, producer, tech person, key grip, sound person, and you better read the instructions carefully.
Yeah.
Even award-winning actors like Adam Kantor, who has been professionally working for more than a decade, still has to self-tape at a moment's notice. And while the first big uses of conversational AI happen to be in video games, like the AI Darth Vader in Fortnite using the voice of James Earl Jones, there's a lot of opportunity to leverage the same technology into real-world use cases. By uploading a script, making some decisions, and using a conversational AI, actors can significantly reduce both the time it takes to self-tape and the money associated with each audition. This is just one example of how time can be optimized in the creative industries. Things like shot lists can also be expedited with the use of AI. But it's not just time optimization. There are opportunities that can arise by leveraging AI in non-creative ways. Christian and Isac are 2 of Stockholm's most talented rising actors. They're also the founders of Triangle Drama, a film production company. Currently, they're working on their first feature film, inspired by the classic Swedish book Dr. Glass. When you're creating a film, especially as an independent, there's a lot of things to consider. You have to think about casting and location. You have to pick the soundtrack. And you also have to think about distribution. For instance, how can a film being shot in Swedish reach new audiences? Finding ways to minimize the language barrier is one potential solution to this challenge. Lip-sync dubbing in film is a relatively new application, though it has been used already in award-winning films like The Brutalist. Being able to match dialogue to an actor's performance in multiple languages opens up a huge distribution channel, which can make international films much more competitive. Here's a great example of how flawless AI is transforming video footage.
And it's all my fault. Es todo por mi culpa.
While it's still early days and it's definitely hard to escape the deluge of creative AI tools, one thing's for certain: whatever comes next might not look like what came before.
For me, it's interesting because coming from video games, we have like really interesting examples of new shops that are being created by technology. How many of you would believe like 10 years ago or 15 years ago that being a professional esport player, a content creator, an influencer, a gamer, a streamer could be a shop? So it's interesting to see how we adapt into that technology.
And while artists continue to be vocal about the issues surrounding AI,
in terms of art, we can tell when something has had AI involved in it, and it feels a bit icky when you can tell that AI has led the story.
they might just be marked safe as a job occupation that can't be replicated or replaced.
The shops that are more at risk are those that have like a large corpus of knowledge behind that machines can learn. When you have like these weird combinations of shops, like that's kind of like micro different skills and specializations, that are the shops that are going to be harder to replace. Or when you have to combine a cognitive skill with a manual skill.
Throughout history, theater has constantly embraced the cutting-edge technologies to weave its tales and connect with audiences from all over the world. From the revolutionary printing press to the expanse of the internet, theater has always adapted and evolved alongside these emergent technologies.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and join us for the next episode.